We're back. Ready to work on something that your parenting relationship is triggering, parent-child relationship is triggering. So yeah, so if we just look at all the things that trigger us, you know, that our kids' behavior and whatever, or even like the things we worry about, you know, that'll show us what the things you worry about your kids. That shows you a place you can heal some stuff. Mm-hmm. Never know what kind of stuff, but.
And I've actually, the trigger that I'm having, I've gone in, because I've done this long enough that I do most of my work myself now. And I've gone in and I've sat and I've gotten quiet a few times, and I've gotten a little bit on it, but I know it's my thing. Like, it's totally my thing. It's all me. I can't see it clearly right now to figure out exactly what I need to get at with it. So this is why we've got our tribe.
That's right.
Why we can't do it alone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that stuff's too thick to see through.
Yes, that's true. And we're so deep in it. We're kind of so stuck down in it that we just need to like reach up and somebody pull me up just a little bit so I can just like see my way out of this.
Yep.
Yeah. And just for anybody watching, that is my goal when I'm working with people is, yes, we'll work on your issues and fix your stuff and heal your stuff that you're wanting to, your goals. And at the same time, you're learning how to do this for yourself.
Yep.
This is not something that, you know, it is something that you can do daily. It's like brushing your teeth and taking a shit. Emotional healing and cleansing and, you know, mind, body, spirit. You have to pay attention to all three. And our emotion is the connection between all three. Mm-hmm. The way they communicate. So if we're not doing our, you know, emotional clearing and excavating, you know, we always kind of get pulled back into the same place where we're like, okay, I've done this before. This pattern has happened before. Why am I repeating this? You know, so. And when you're in the thick of it, we do need each other. So,
yeah.
All right. So what's happening? How's it showing up in your feelings and your.
So I've noticed that it doesn't even matter how much self-care I've been doing or where I'm at energetically. I've been overwhelmed easily by just, I've got to do this and I've got to take care of this and I need to deal with you also. Or even if, you know, if they're running, well, particularly through the house, if they're running around outside and screaming, I don't care. But it's not necessarily what they're doing. It's my reaction to it. Like, I am overreacting if they're not going to sleep when it's time for bed and they're up playing and they're staying up too late. And I see that they're staying up way too late. They're staying up late because they're overtired already from being at their father's house. And, you know, I can see that, and I know, like, in my head, I'm going, you're going to be overtired and I'm going to have to deal with your shit tomorrow. Just go to sleep.
Right,
you know,
right.
I'll just lose my temper and just yell at them, and I'm like, okay, I'm overreacting to this, and I'm stepping back now, and I'm saying, one, I don't want to handle this way. I don't want to feel, and I can tell it's a feeling of loss of power. It's a frustration because they're not listening. It's a feeling of, and I realize, like, okay, I'm giving my power away in this situation, and I know that I need to be looking at this like they are their own little beings and their own little path and their own little journey. And also they're just children that are playing. They're happy right now. They're playing together. This is actually
You're
a good
in it, Mom.
right now.
Yes.
Why right before you're supposed to go to sleep? Do this in the morning.
Yeah, so there's a lot at play in those kind of situations, but you are getting down to the core of it in that whole like loss of power, right? And when you're in a relationship with someone and you're choosing that relationship. You're choosing to continue that relationship, you know, every day. We choose to continue that relationship because, you know, you do have the power to walk away, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might not seem like a choice that you would make or that I would make, you know, but
it's a choice
that is a choice that you would make.
Yeah.
So every time you have bedtime, you know, I'm choosing this. And so choice, conscious choice is, in my mind right now, the opposite of the loss of power. But what would you say is the opposite of that feeling? Because you're using words and your feeling is sometimes indescribable.
I know that, and I'm kind of feeling like this is where I need to go to work through this, is I know that in other instances where I've been feeling a loss of power, like with money and security and things like that, it's always been this thing where it's a letting go of the outside circumstance and realizing that that thing needs to come from within. So, and in those cases, it was like abundance and security. So with my children, what is it that I feel like I'm giving? What is it that I'm giving away? What is it that I feel like I'm not having power in? So that's the thing where I'm like, okay, what is it that I'm looking for that I need to be letting go? And what is it that I'm actually letting go of, and what needs to be coming from here that I'm like not getting out there, that I'm losing power getting out there. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what that is.
Do you want me to say what I'm hearing?
Yes, please.
So what I'm seeing a lot of things should be different than what they are. They should be asleep by now. They need to be asleep by now so they're not grumpy in the morning. You're going into the future and creating a future that you don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Right.
Right.
And not being present.
Right. So you're not being present and you're shoulding all over it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, and yes. Yeah, so being fully present in a moment that we used to be shitting on is really pretty hard in that moment, you know, because all of and that gets back to those external pressures that society puts on us. Right. Our kids need to be happy and productive and well rested and well fed, and, you know, to send them off to school, or else then I'm going to hear about it, or I'm going to hear about it from their dad, or I'm going to hear.
For me, mine is totally like, I need you well rested so that
I can deal with
it's not overwhelming to me to deal with.
Yes, there's that one too.
So that I don't have all these over the top emotions. Is you know, when we're well rested, we handle things. It's more easy to kind of like interact. And if they're not well rested, or if they're hungry, or, you know, whatever, all of us, you know, when we have these triggers, it's easy for us to deal. And so
and I think it's interesting how that hungry, what is it? Hungry.
It's those chakra things. If we don't feel that we've got those basic needs being met.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, right? That's one of the parenting ones that we use. Like, okay, yes, our kids' behavior is usually one of these four things.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, our job is to keep all of those things at bay so that our life is easier and so that our kid is happy.
Yeah.
And it's a process
to let go of that
parenting thing. Yeah. Is like this.
I can see this needs to start becoming her thing that she's taking care of. And I've done that with her hungry. I'm working with her angry, the tired thing. I'm having a hard time. And actually, this is something that I have recognized, that I have been in control of. Okay, it's nap time. We're going to go to sleep. Okay, it's bedtime. We're going to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And there have been times where I've recognized that they'll tell me they're tired. And I'm like, baby, you can go and lay down if your body's telling you you're tired, but they won't do it because they're so stuck in they're not listening to their bodies.
Yeah.
they're so stuck in my thing, even though I do demonstrate that for them myself. I'm like, well, I'm tired too, so I'm going to take a nap with you. But you know, I need to give them that power to know, you know what, I'm tired. I'm getting overtired. I'm going to, you know, I need to go to sleep.
Yeah. Right. And the age varies so greatly at what age you can give this, you know,
well, in my 3-year-old
responsibility back to the kid. I'm not even going to say an age, because like, some kid, and you know, in unschooling special needs, you can talk to parents whose their kid doesn't get that till they're 20, you know, like how to regulate their own tiredness. Like it is such a very varied, you know.
Well, I think this is a perfect age right now for me to introduce a concept, because my 3-year-old recognizes when she's tired. So for me to be, and she's said it to me, and I remember Sakina, my 5-year-old, did at that age also. They're starting to recognize it, and they're not going to do it on a regular basis, but giving them that power, some of that power at that age. I think this is the age that I need to start giving Sarah some of that power.
Absolutely.
And Sakina, I need to like help work with her to get more in tune with her body so she listens to it more.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah.
Now, what do we need to do? A statement? Let's see. I'm in surrogacy for Heather. Okay. So there's a statement that Heather needs to balance for this goal. There is an inner healing process that she needs to do for this goal. Okay. So that the second one was strong.
That makes sense.
Coming to you.
Any statements or any situations?
Any statements, because I was just going to write down, if anything had come to you, we can write down the statements just for later, because that we're not going to do that this time.
So the only thing that came to me was being able to remain centered, or be able to, you know, remain in an open, centered state myself to help them. But I had recognized a while ago that the reason that I'm triggered by this and that I have a hard time helping them with this is because this goes back to my childhood with my dad. So with me being able to, I couldn't be in my body, because being in my body was not a safe space. There were boundaries that were being crossed there. So being in my body was not a safe space. So I was not listening to myself. And we didn't have nap time, but he just told us all the time when it was time for bed. And if we got to stay up late, then because we were doing something, then we got to stay up late. But I never really slept when I was tired. In fact, even to this day, if I've got something going on or if I'm doing something, I'm awake until it's done. I'm not one of those people that would ever like just pass out because I'm tired. Like I make myself stay awake till it's done, and then I go to sleep. Or if I'm tired, and
everyone else should do that too. Right. I'm just like you in that way, and I know that belief system. Everyone else should do that too, right? We just all need to be on the same sleep schedule, and then that would just make everything easier, right?
Right. Well, and I do the other thing too, where I'm like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap. So I give myself that permission, but there's that other part of me that's like, things got to get done. I'm going to do it. You know, like if I'm awake, I'm awake. I'm watching a movie, whatever I'm doing. Even if I'm watching a movie, I don't fall asleep during movies, you know, like it just.
Yes. I used to never fall asleep during movies, but now I can totally do it. I love it. It's like, that was a great moment in my life when I could just, I want to do this.
I don't have to do this. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So.
Well, in that authoritarian parenting style that I have, thank you, Father, has been like, well, you just got to do it. And I'll give reasons. I'll help them at least with that. Like why, but it's, hey, I said, you got to do it and we're going to do it now. Like, yes. Or we're going to do it as soon as you finish with this thing right here. Like, that's fine. Do this. And then we're going to do this, you know?
And we're overriding the other people's inner guidance when we do that, right?
Absolutely.
We're trying to anyway, and it usually doesn't go well, you know. And so,
well, and if we ride them hard enough, then we end up like they're gonna fight back, and then if we ride them hard enough, then that shuts down, and that's where we create these blocks, right?
Yes, and the relationship shuts down too, right? It's all of these ways that we try to control our children shuts down the relationship in very, little avenues and,
Yeah.
pieces of the relationship. So
Yes.
I am a big proponent of as soon as possible, as soon as they are able to handle the responsibility, let them have responsibility for all of those things, with suggestions from you. And I'm not saying like Lord of the Flies, that is not what I'm advocating.
Right.
But with guidance and with prompts, like when you help somebody learn a new skill, you don't just say, okay, now you're in charge of your tiredness and your bedtime and getting enough rest.
Right.
You give them prompts. Well, are you feeling tired? You're kind of grumpy. Is it because you're tired? Just, you do, it's a process. Just like,
well, and luckily we already have some of that dialogue. We've kind of already done some of that. And there are other areas luckily this won't be a completely new concept, because there are other areas where we've always like, okay, well, here's a set of choices. Or, okay, well, listen, if you're not hungry and you don't want to eat, that's fine. That's your choice. You're not getting a bunch of snacks and dessert, but if you're full, that's fine.
Right.
I'm not going to make you eat every bite on your plate, which her dad hates.
Right. But you also can't go to the ice cream shop after,
this is your choice.
I know that stuff is gonna, cause consequences, and yes.
Right.
We have to.
So I think that we should be able to, at least with them, I'll be able to broach like, a series of options, bring them more in tune with their bodies and talk about those things. I think I'll definitely be able to do that. So my work is my inner work of the trigger.
And that's what we're about to go into. And I just felt it as you were about to say it. And I'm just writing down the statement. I can stay fully present in my body.
Yeah.
And this is one that's like, I think going to be a good one. I can stay fully present in my body, in the moment, with my child. Like, you could do the statement on so many different words, fill in the blank. With my child. What was the other thing I said? You get the gist.
Yeah.
And so what I'm getting is that in order to get to where you can do all these statements that,
so that I'm not being triggered, so that I can
uncorked. Yes. And this is something that, people that do email sessions with me, will get their statement, and then they'll be like, avoid it. And sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously, subconsciously, like, or like chaos in life will overtake and overshadow it, so we can blame it something else, but so, and that's what I have learned, when you're not in real time doing statements with people, you need to, when you've tried a couple of times to do a statement and it's not working for whatever reason, there's a million reasons. It doesn't matter what the reasons are. If you've tried a couple times and, even just like, I keep thinking about it, but I never can get to the notebook that has the statement to, do the process.
That's probably your higher self telling you that there's something else that you need to get to first.
Yes. And, so there's various processes that we use. Let's see, we need to use a sensory process, a corridor process. Okay, so we're just going to we're going to go in and find that.
I knew that it was going to be that one.
That wounded
I was feeling that one.
Wounded piece of Heather from, you're already consciously remembering some of the, memories and reasons.
I don't even know that I have any specific memories right now, but I just had a knowing that that's what it's from. Like, I just, that's where all of my anger and impatient issues come from, is my father, from wounds from my father. So,
and so we'll see, we're going to go in and we're going to find the core wound to Heather's soul that is, I don't know the right word. It's not blocking. It's not in the way of, fully doing this and even doing these balances of, I can stay fully present in my body and in the moment with my child, when there's discomfort around, when there's,
it's just like a complicating factor in it. Like, it's just this.
I just see it as like a thorn in your system that kind of like keeps all of the balance from being able to happen.
Yeah.
You know, the same way that we in acupuncture, we, you know, get the energy to move, helps all areas of health.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go in and we're going to take that little tiny, or maybe not so tiny wound or thorn out of that wound, and then so that wound can heal.
Yes.
All right, so just get comfortable, and Heather needs to be upright or lying down. So you can choose if you want to lie down or stay seated.
I'm going to stay seated because I'm in an office.
Okay, as long as you're comfortable and you can relax. So we're just going to first invoke that bubble of divine protection. More intentionally create this safe and healing space. And just ask the healing energy of unconditional love to be fully present now. As we go inward. So Heather, you already know to take some deep breaths and go inward into your heart space. So I'll just let you tell me when you're at that doorway.
I am there.
Okay. So this is the wound that is in that wounded piece of yourself, or representation of that trauma. Sometimes we see it not as a piece of ourselves, but as a representation of the trauma that created this pattern of not being able to stay fully present in your body in moments of distress and certain kinds of experiences. So let me know when you're ready to open the door. And we'll walk in together or crawl in together. Sometimes people can't walk straight through the door.
Okay, I'm ready to go in.
All right. So let me know what
more things that I was like, oh yes, there might be more here to being present in moments of stress and trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, what is that? What is that underneath not being able to stay present? And there's some of those things that went back to a different memory. So there's actually kind of like two things that are coming up now.
All right. So when you go through the door, what do you see or experience, feel, hear?
I think it's I'm seeing me in these situations.
So these
and I'm feeling the feelings. I'm realizing the feelings that those situations brought up.
Okay, so just give me a number, like what age were you for each situation?
The first one I was young, maybe 2,
okay,
or less.
Okay.
The second one I was maybe 3 or 4, probably 3.
And what are the feelings?
Maybe 4. So the first feeling is that feeling of not being safe to be present in my body because of the situation. I had to be, this was a stressful, traumatic situation that it was not safe for me to be in my body. And so I had to shut down in order to not experience and not be present, fully present in the moment.
And so that feeling was repeated at age 3 or 4.
Oh no, that feeling was repeated through age 12.
Okay.
The other feeling that's coming up for me is a feeling of having done something that was totally innocent and normal for a child of my age, but being attacked. And the feeling of, oh, my gosh, like being attacked by my parent and that feeling of just shock and a little, maybe a little bit of fear, but just that shock of, oh, like I can't feel these things. I can't do these things. I can't be free to experience this natural thing that I'm trying to do.
So the shock of being shut down. So your inner guidance was shut down.
Yes.
Your inner being was expressing in a way that was totally normal and natural, but that was not okay, and it was a traumatic attack.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to do the not safe in my body first. We need to do the shock first. Okay, so we're work backwards.
Okay.
So go into that feeling of shock. And into that, if memories come up, that's fine, but just describe the feeling and where it is in your body.
It's definitely, it's in this area. I think a little bit of my solar plexus area and the heart area.
Okay.
And it's a leaping up. It's like a pain here, but then it's like a leaping out of that area. Yeah. And like a shutting down of that area.
Yes.
Which makes perfect sense because I've had blocks between that area, the solar plexus and the heart, and we've been dealing with that stuff. So
yeah. And so what I'm feeling is, so there's this feeling, it's kind of this joyful leap of like expressing your authentic self, but then is it like that feeling is being pushed down and like trampled out?
Honestly, the joyful feeling of having expressed myself isn't showing up.
Okay.
It's only the like leap of the shock and fear of the attack that's showing.
Okay. Okay. So our goal is to get to that feeling of joy, get back to that feeling.
Yes.
Of joy. Okay. So bring your attention to your heart and your solar plexus. And just keep going into the shock. So we're just going to ask that energy of unconditional love to be fully present and moving into these two places. You can use your hands there if that helps you feel like you can kind of direct the energy there a little bit more. Sometimes on the front, sometimes on the back is good, whatever you're guided to do. And so just open to receive that energy of unconditional love. I'm feeling like it needs to go into the solar plexus first, but whatever you're led to do in your own system. And then say out loud, I open to the healing energy of unconditional love.
I open to the healing energy of unconditional love.
Just allow it to flood into your solar plexus and your heart chakra, all through your system, wherever you feel it move. Allow that. Especially focusing on that solar plexus and really sending that love and that healing energy into that place.
You know what I'm so used to reparenting myself through these things that my mind automatically went to how would I have wanted the situation to be handled, and I'm getting new tools for dealing with these situations with my children.
Yes, yay. And so that is so say it out loud. What would you say to your 3 to 4 year old self, that whatever age you were at that time?
I'm hearing, I love your energy right now. I love this expression that you have, it's not, I don't know. I'm getting some I'm not getting exactly the words for using to guide it. Maybe does it, let's look around us right now. Does it feel safe to be doing this right now? In yourself, like, what do you think about this? Or, because the reason that my father had, lashed out, and the reasons that I lashed out, is because we perceive of something that's dangerous in what they're doing, or we perceive of something that is, you know, like for example, if they're doing it in the house, then I can, without overreacting, suggest, why don't we go do this outside? I love this energy. Why don't we go do this outside? Or without telling them, this isn't safe right now, you have to stop doing this, or whatever, you know, maybe
appropriate. You're being too loud. You're being,
and also because it came to me, maybe we could tone it down, but I don't want to dim them. I don't want to dim them.
Yeah. So that's, okay. So let's go back to that 4-year-old self. And it might not be words that come. Just connect with your heart center to that 4-year-old self and give her the support that she needed. Give her the space or encouragement, or whatever she didn't get. Just pump it through. I'm seeing it heart chakra to heart chakra, but however you experience it, connect with her and just, and our goal, we want her to feel safe, to feel that joy again, and to reintegrate with you, to not be separated out and traumatized away from the core of your being.
Yeah, the heart chakra to heart chakra feels,
it's getting it.
Yeah.
And is she willing? Is she ready to like join forces with you, with her enthusiasm and her exuberance for life, to go forward bravely, do all the things that you're inspired to do?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. So just let her kind of become one with you again. Her healed and whole self, no longer traumatized and shocked, but able to feel that exuberance, safe to feel that exuberance.
It's so funny because I was able to feel this in some areas of my life, but there was a playfulness that I've been trying to get to, that I feel like this was a major part of that.
Yay. So let's ask, do we need to do, or not do we? We need to visit with 2-year-old, not safe in my body. I'm getting a no on that.
Okay.
So check in just for yourself and see if there's anything left. I don't want to rush you through feeling this joy and exuberance and connecting to that part of yourself at all.
I want to check in, since we're getting that there's a no on that, I just want to check in and see how I feel about that now.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. When you're done really, soaking that in, we can check with her and let's let her reintegrate, because if she's feeling safe in your body, then that should be a short process. So with that place of that memory and that not feeling safe in your body, and see if you can conjure it. You might not be able to conjure it, but just see what comes. Just go back into that room.
So I'm getting, let me see. I'm getting this, like, I'm experiencing it. And I have, like, now as I'm experiencing it, like, I can see where that feeling of not being safe in the body came from. But I feel like going back to it now and seeing the experience, or being in the experience now, I'm able to sort of see the wound more clearly, the feeling of the understanding of why I wasn't able to, but it doesn't feel emotional anymore. It doesn't feel unsafe anymore.
Okay. And so do you feel like that part of yourself has already reintegrated, or do we need to invite her to join forces with you in getting fully present in your body?
Here's the thing. I do still feel in that moment that it was not safe to be in my body.
Yes.
So I don't know.
And so acknowledge that with her. Say, yes,
Yeah.
you left your
In
body
that
for a
moment.
reason.
Yeah.
Talk to her about that. Let's do that right now. Talk to her about, this is like, I'm seeing my days at the Rape Crisis Center where you talk to the woman about, like, you didn't do anything wrong. You left your body for a reason because that was the safest place to be. Now we're in control of the situation and you don't have to be unsafe in your body anymore. But that was the right decision. We got to acknowledge that for that older version of ourselves.
And now, wow, there was so much work that was needed to get to this point because I had to work through my trust of men, expressing myself with men, holding my boundaries with men, men of different ages, like all of these things I've worked through to this point that now I can say, hey, you're safe.
Yes.
That situation was not safe, but you now know how to handle these things, hold your boundaries, express yourself.
You didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and now we're telling her. And so now, does she feel like she can reintegrate, or is there any more?
Yeah, no, yes, she does. Yeah.
So that's, for anybody watching, that is a big, very common thing that we often need to do is go back, and there's a coping mechanism that we're stuck in. The coping mechanism is leaving your body during a trauma, and it's not a necessary coping mechanism anymore, but we got to acknowledge to that previous version of ourselves that it was absolutely necessary. You did the right thing leaving your body. That was not a safe place to be in that moment.
Right.
Your survival depended on you leaving your body in that moment for a lot of people. Right?
Yeah.
So, and whatever the coping mechanism is, I always like to use the example of my husband and his denial, and how that is it absolutely saved him from insanity, because it's, whenever you're in any kind of abusive situation, you're just being gaslit constantly.
Yeah.
This is, no, I love you as I beat you with a belt, like what, I'm just thinking of random examples of like all the, the disconnect of this traumatic situation that happens to us. And then, that is huge. So yay. So how do you feel now?
It's so funny. It actually came to me, I think at the end of our last video, but it came to me again just now that it's so beautiful that, doing this work, we're able to, I had told my 5-year-old can understand, my 3-year-old isn't really understanding yet, but I had told her, listen, I don't have any tools right now. I'm talking to you, I'm asking you, but I'm getting really frustrated and I don't have any other tools and I don't want to yell at you. So please just go to sleep, right? So she knew already that I was like hitting the end of my toolbox and that, I don't want to do this, but I don't know what else to do. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to have to yell at you. And so oftentimes that would sort of diffuse the situation enough that they would kind of go to sleep, and sometimes wouldn't. But now, I'll be able to go to her and be like, hey, guess what? Mommy was able to find some new tools and go in and do some healing. And I've talked to her about, some things that I do. It's from when I was your age. I was a little girl and my dad didn't have the tools. And so I haven't learned the tools, and now I'm learning it. And this way we're able to give them the tools and give them that support structure so that we're really
awareness.
Yeah.
Just the awareness is such a gift. You know? And then
everybody's dealing with this stuff
too. Yes, that's even awesome. Yeah. I mean, it is so beautiful, and I'm so glad that you said that, because it is, as we do our own healing, and the cracks, the light comes through the cracks. In those. And so now we need to do another process. It felt complete to me. And so we should celebrate those really powerful integrations. You guys on the video couldn't feel what I was feeling. And I know you were probably feeling some powerful stuff. Those were some really, and the healing the 2-year-old version and healing the 4-year-old version and that specific trauma is going to reverberate into your future, into creating, a better operating system for yourself and for your children, but it also heals the past. It also heals. It's really magical how it works. So I don't
Well,
want
it's
to.
amazing that it really does heal that version of yourself in the past, so you feel more whole and complete today.
Yes, because those pieces of yourself splintered away for a reason. It wasn't safe.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't express this joy and exuberance in certain situations, right? You're like you said, you've had to do it in different topics, right? And now we got even underneath to like really basic, exuberance and joy and expressing your inner being. And, so that is just gonna be able to be expressed in a bigger way in every area of life now too.
Yay!
All right. So you got some statements to do. Now you're going to be able to see how many. So she's going to start. I'll just make a prediction. She's going to start with these statements, and then that's just going to uncork, 20 more statements that she'll be like, oh yeah, and I need to heal this thing about blah blah blah. So
yeah.
So I can't wait till the next time we get together, and you can let us know how that went and all the things.
Yes.
Yay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. You don't have any questions that you think that you need to say or anything else you need to say, do you?
Nothing's coming to me.
Process. How do you feel? Just say that out loud. How you feel now about this?
I feel good, and I'm really excited.
Of being overwhelmed, overreacting, losing your power, frustrated.
So I really feel like that I'm excited for that. And because I know how this process works, I know that, either maybe this week or next week, I'm going to be in these situations. Not only will I be more mindful of it even this week, but all of a sudden I'm going to find myself not being triggered and handling it completely differently and being able to actually think of some of these new tools that I have, these new statements that I've come up with that I can tell my children rather than yelling at them.
You're just supposed to be in bed now. That's all I know.
And I'm also super excited about the fact that the more playful side of me, I've been it's been a few months now that I've been like, I want to be like, where did that playfulness go? Like, I want to be more playful on a regular basis in different situations with my children and stuff like that. And so I know that this is addressed that little thing that I've been thinking about looking at for a while too. So
yes, totally. And isn't it cool how it always kind of touches different areas of your life? And just from like, an unschooling or attachment parenting or continuum concept, kind of perspective of like, bedtime is the time that needs to be fun and security. That's when you need to feel the most secure is right before you have.
That was a trigger for me.
Yeah.
I totally had forgotten to mention that. Like, that's one thing I've always been like, we can't play before bed. We need to be calm so that we can sleep. So I always, even when my children were tiny, I would tell their dad, stop playing with them. They need to go to sleep. Like, don't play with them. You're going to rile them up. It's not, and
that's the thing too. I mean, that is the thing too. And so you have to use that intuition with your parenting of like, okay, we're going to play a little bit and really have, but it's going to
calm down.
Learn how to get into snuggles from, like you just kind of you're the leader, right? You're just like, okay, I'm going to, we're going to play and tickle for a bit, but then we're going to, we're going to segue into some snuggles and some, cozy and some talk, whatever. And, and those rituals, those kind of security bedtime rituals are really, that you might get some ideas of like some new things that you can do that can feel authentic to you, maybe besides the ones that, our society does that sometimes trigger us too, right?
Yes.
So I can't wait to hear.
My 5-year-old keeps asking for we got the Abraham Hicks Sarah book.
Oh,
And she keeps asking for it. I don't know where it's gone. I'm just trusting that it's going to show up at some point. It's either at her dad's house or here. I don't know where it went, but we need to start reading that one before bed again. Yeah. They were really enjoying it.
Yes. And then I can't wait to hear how much easier they fall asleep. Because, I mean, just being like the vibrational leader in our home, just your resistance to what is, they won't go to bed, creates a situation that makes them not want to go to sleep because they don't feel safe. Mom's not feeling safe over there. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God, she's so triggered. What's going on? Oh my gosh, my energy's too
I better be on high alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, our kids totally pick up on that, even if they can't verbalize it. It's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.